Hi all, this is Simona Rich, and in this video I would like to speak about following gurus. If a person um, is a self-proclaimed guru, self-proclaimed enlightened person, and he has millions of devotees, he lives a rich life and he's on TV, this is not someone who is liberated, because liberated people, they are not recognized. They don't want the masses to know about them, because where the masses are, there is ignorance. The masses will never be able to tell who is enlightened and who is not. They run far away from real spirituality, and they flock to self-proclaimed gurus who are nothing more than salespeople, because they like what those gurus tell them. Those gurus tell messages that are easy to hear, that are pleasing, and therefore the masses flock to such people. The masses have no spiritual senses to rely on. All they can rely on are physical senses, the sense of hearing and the sense of sight, especially in this case. And therefore those who are wolves in sheep's clothing, they know very well that the masses go by their sight and hearing, and therefore they just present themselves as spiritual people. They dress that kind of way, and they sound spiritual because they're very intelligent, they're very clever, they study deeply that art, but of themselves they have no light. I have never seen light in any guru widely followed today, for example. There is no light in them, but they're just very smart. They're clever salespeople. And whenever there is demand, there will be supply. Someone will use that demand. Some clever salesperson will recognize that there is a high demand, and he will style himself to be what people search for, and thus he will profit. He doesn't care about your spiritual progress. He doesn't care about liberation. He cares about his things like money, that he will gain money and power. And because those gurus are self-proclaimed gurus attracting millions of followers, are the opposite of what they represent to the senses, sooner or later this comes out, like them being accused of raping multiple devotees, them being accused of smuggling drugs or guns, them being accused of having like offshore bank accounts and so forth. So sooner or later their true nature will be shown. But because devotees have invested so much money and their time in those salespeople, usually that investment proves to be for them more precious than sticking to the truth. So they forsake the truth and they stick to that which is false, which is very, very sad, but that's what human nature, that's what people usually choose. They stick, for example, in relationships with people, to people who are, for example, abusing them, but because they have invested so much of their time and emotions in those people, they stick to them rather than freeing themselves from such burden. So that's human nature, and this is very, very sad. The message that I really wanted to get across in this video, though, is about not following and not being devoted to any spiritual guru, because usually they are false, especially those who you see on screens and those who have huge marketing teams investing in them. These are not real gurus. It's so obvious when you have spiritual senses. It's so obvious. It's in plain sight that these are wolves in sheep's clothing. But it's so difficult for people not to fall for them, because yes, they look very spiritual and they sound very spiritual, but there is no spiritual light in them. There is no light in them. So The message that I wanted to get across in this video is not to follow any of such gurus, because then you will never find the source of true wisdom which is within. If some person points towards that, it's a teacher. That person is telling the truth. You should look within, because there is your true guru. When you find that essence, which is the God particle, which is God energy in you, once you get in touch with it through meditation, through silence, through being present, you will always be guided. You will have your own personal guru. You are your own guru. Then you will no longer need to follow anyone. Yes, it's wise to listen to those who are intelligent, those who are knowledgeable. It's wise to read the texts left by enlightened people, but at the end all of them point to the necessity of your own inner work, your own practice. Nobody will be able to achieve liberation for you. You cannot put your burdens onto anyone else's shoulders but just yourself. You are given only that which you can carry. All the burdens are good for you, because once you, for example, when you have problems and you try to run away from them, or try to get other people to solve them for you, you're not learning anything. But once you learn and overcome your problems, you become a better, smarter, more just more perfected individual. So all of these are good for you. It's of course comforting and pleasing to hear messages of some gurus who say, come and I will take your burdens, you can leave all your problems with me. It's a message that is pleasing to the ears of those people who are greatly burdened in life, but this is actually a message of their destruction. This is a message that eventually will make them fall. The truth is sometimes difficult to hear, but you really have to face all your problems yourself and solve them, and solving of them will make you a much more stronger and more spiritual, more wise individual. And if you do spiritual practice yourself rather than investing that energy into worshipping some self-proclaimed God man, eventually you will discover that inner guru, that wisdom within, which will guide you for the rest of your life. Those self-proclaimed God men will grow old and die, all of them, although they claim to be incarnations of this or that. They eventually grow old and die, all of them. But if you find that source within, it will guide you for the rest of your life. You can rely on that source 100%. It won't leave you. It won't die. It will always stay there. And when you become one with it, you are the source itself. So all the enlightened people pointed to the necessity of working on yourself, on uncovering that essence through meditation, dwelling in the caps of thoughts, through self-awareness, through being present all the time. All of them wanted you to discover that inner essence, that guru within. And if some self-proclaimed God man claims to be the source of knowledge and higher than who you are, that is a false person wanting only personal power and money and other worldly things, but they have no regard for you. They don't want your spiritual progress. They just care about themselves. So the best thing is to do is not to follow such gurus. Yes, it's good to listen to wise words, but at the end of the day, you have to do your own spiritual practice. You have to solve your own problems, and that's what makes you improve. That's what makes you a wiser human being. And if you do your spiritual practice, eventually you will uncover that essence that you truly are. You will shed all the layers of false self to uncover that which is permanent, the universe itself, that divine energy, and it will guide you. And eventually, if you totally rely on it, you will become at one with it. You will be that essence. You are that essence. So that's the message that I wanted to share with you in this video. Thank you for watching. Take care.